whatsoever.
Right.
You didn't remember that phone call at all to say should be at the ball.
From our previous training, and only been able to hold, what did they say, 5 to 8 things?
Yes.
She kept just getting new information, didn't she?
Yeah.
To make her forget?
I don't think she retained any of it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. 5 to 8 items. Ability to recognize the person on the phone by relationship. She didn't know who that was. Able to use the data provided on the phone. Able to hold or new information about place and activities. Use old information to lock in new data. Ability to find words, especially nouns. Just ability to describe words with commonly accepted words.
Instead of brown hairy balls.
Brown hairy balls. And did you hear her use the word prominence?
Yeah.
That's her prominence on it.
Yes.
Ability to control impulsive speech and ideas. Ability to value relationships and modify behavior to control observation. Ability to recognize strong visual cues. Coffee cup, toilet paper in the closet. Ability to use reasonable explanation to recall why there is no toilet paper. And the ability to use strong auditory cues to recall recent conversation or details. So can you clearly tell the difference between normal and not normal?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm going to show you a list. You can leave that on until I finish this. I think that'll be easier. These are the things, just a review from before. Normal aging, slower to think, slower to do. May hesitate more likely to look before you leap. Will know a person but not their name. May pause when word finding. New data reminds me of old data. And then the not normal, which is what we saw today, unable to think the same, unable to do as I did before, unable to start tasks, will get stuck in the moment of time, unable to think things through, unable to successfully recall a person's identity. Words won't come even with visual or verbal cues, will be confused about past and present, personality and behaviors will be different. You can stop. What are some of the key things you can listen for, look for, and consider that would help you tell the difference between normal and not normal aging?
I would think like the first cue may have been like when she was trying to figure out what type of candy the friend liked. She kept saying brown hairy ball. Of course, she wouldn't really probably use that exact wording if she could think of something different.
Yes.
And
She argued about what store she was supposed to go to. She swore it was JCPenney, but apparently it was closed for a while. The new store was there.
So her words that she used and not recalling that the store had changed or had left. Okay.
And I was also thinking about going back to like telling her she's eating a lot and that she looked awful in those pictures when
Yes.
normally you would.
You would hold that back,
Yes.
wouldn't you?
Yes.
Okay.
The words that she used also, there was a lot of swear words in there. I know that there's been people that their families were like, Mom's never cussed before ever, but like we would hear them like a million times say bad words, but I don't know, for some reason that's altered too, that their language is completely different, whether swear or call names or just be rude. And before they could have been the nicest person ever.
Right.
Really out of character.
And the families don't believe us, do they?
No.
When we tell them.
Actually, what Liz said that I thought with the not normal conversation, she was way more combative than in the first one.
Yeah.
Definitely less friendly.
Yes.
Less friendly, more combative. Okay. Think of 1 to 2 situations where you can look for, listen for, pay attention for the possibility of not normal behaviors where you live or work. Think of 2 situations where you can look for, listen for, pay attention to.
In my personal life?
Yes, where you live or where you work. What to look for not
work. I would say. Why ain't nothing coming to mind?
My grandmother, when she first started to have dementia problems, she used to cook dinner all the time, and she always made her famous macaroni and cheese. Everybody loved it. It was always grandma's mac and cheese. Well, she made it for Thanksgiving one year when she was having having some problems with her forgetfulness and stuff, but she just put the noodles in, she left out the cheese altogether.
Okay, so you saw it with her, just leaving a complete step out of the
Mhm.
recipe.
Yeah, the cheese, that was a big thing, it was my courage.
Yeah, and that's something she's done
Forever, yes.
Okay.
I find that a lot of here, like sometimes they call themselves their children. Like that just happened this morning. Someone introduced themselves as their child,
Ah,
and I find they get the character, or not characters, but they get their roles misplaced, or sometimes they call their son their brother.
Yeah, so they get the roles reversed or their place in the
The
family.
relations, yes.
Okay, good feedback, and I wanted to add that she mentioned one of our residents that's here who had the toilet paper thing, and every time she went to the store, she filled the closet full of toilet paper. She had enough for a year, and instead of milk, it was beer in the refrigerator. So I wanted to offer that feedback. Didn't want you to miss out on that. Okay, you can. All right. From everything that was covered in today's class, share with your partner 2 things that you've learned about normal aging.
That they're just a little slow to think, but with visual cues they can come up with it. And 2, that you can't overload. Like you gotta let them have a moment to finish their sentence without butting in.
I also learned that you can only remember 5 things, so you really shouldn't bombard anybody with any kind of too much information, and that you'll eventually come up with my name.
That's good. Now, talk about the 2 things you learned about not normal.
I just learned that when they're trying to find their words to describe that they're doing it by visual. So that might help you figure out what people are talking about now that you know they're using what they would see to describe it. And 2 is you go.
When they talk to you, you shouldn't take anything too personally because they have no filter on their mouth whatsoever.
No filter.
No filter.
Yeah. Don't take it personal.
And I also, with the way she was talking about how the time overlaps in her brain, it makes me realize why a lot of people with dementia, like their short-term memory is like out the window, but they can recall every little detail from something a long time ago. So I always wondered, well, if you can remember that happened 80 years ago, why can't you remember that 5 minutes ago?
Yeah, we had that in our last class. It's something you've known all your life. Why can't you remember?
Right.
Oh, my second thing is learn that there's about the safety and curiosity. That was a good thing.
Safety talk.
That's gone. But curiosity is sure there.
Yes, it is.
2 things that you found out about ways of getting data into your brain.
All of the different sections. Like in the back, you store this. I'm sure I learned it in high school, but I didn't. It was a nice refresher.
Okay. So all the different parts of the brain that you get data in.
And to see how it changes once you get that, how you disconnect a lot of different places.
I like how we learned how it disconnects, in that you should go like visual first and not straight to touch because of how they lose their senses and how you should approach them.
So you've learned that a lot, that visual first.
Right, and something I even learned, I've even been using it on Health Center. Usually I come up, because they're a little more with it over there, and I'll tap them on the shoulder and go around and talk to them. I make sure now that I'm in front of them and they see me.
Ah, so you're spreading it elsewhere. Good.
Yeah, before. Good. That way I don't come up and scare nobody or anything like
Good practice with anyone.
Okay.
2 things that you are now thinking about people living with dementia. 2 things you are now thinking about people living with dementia.
It's kind of sad that they're in such a fog.
I was just thinking that. How rough their day-to-day life must be. Just the simplest tasks are like, I'm I'm sure it's even so frustrating to them because they know how to do it somewhere, and then they just
They're
can't
so lost.
put it together.
That would be so
Yeah.
aggravating. Have pieces to a puzzle, but just for the life of you, just can't make it fit.
Mhm. And why might they be behaving, talking, thinking, or acting like they do?
Because they want to think that everything's okay.
Okay, and not accept the help, maybe?
Maybe.
They probably, I mean, it's because they can't grasp the fact that they have a disease, let alone figure out why these young teeny boppers are running around trying to tell them what to do and how to do it and when and where.
You know, and some of them, they might not even notice that they're doing anything. Like, what's her name when she was going over, well, you know, I haven't even talked to you today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, she didn't even realize that she'd forgotten anything. She just thinks that the other person's wrong altogether, and there's nothing wrong with her. It's the other person. Well, you need to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with me.
Yeah.
You need to go.
How have what you learned today impact how you explore the possibility of normal and not normal situations?
I think that it gave you a good foundation on one, being able to separate what was normal and what was not normal, and two, it gave you insight on how to deal with those people who are maybe not having not normal aging. And even with the normal aging, like how they said, they're just slower to think, so you need to be more patient and don't start throwing out 50 words to finish their sentence.
Okay.
So I think that's one way.
Just slowing down in general to anybody,
Yeah.
especially your older
Yeah.
director who can't handle the information.
I think it's good information. Be able to distinguish the two. That way you know how to handle a person. If you know someone just got normal aging, then you can maybe give them more cues and help them pick up on things versus someone, if you know that they're in the stages of dementia, then you can go about it differently, maybe help them understand or help whatever it is.
How would you
they're
get
doing.
them? How would you get to them first?
Visual.
Visual. Good job. Okay. Ask the group to talk to the partner or in the group. Describe 1 to 2 situations that you have experienced that were clearly normal aging.
My mama telling me the same story 5 times. Bless her heart.
My mama calling me 5 different names.
Okay.
Do that right now.
Okay.
That's your mouth.
Okay. So you see it in your mom a little bit?
Having to go back to the beginning to remember what you were going to do.
Yes.
See the trace your steps.
Yes.
That's normal. You all are in normal.
We're just old. We're over 25. Is that
I know. You're making me feel
Down in.
real good, or I'm making you feel real bad. I'm not sure. Okay. Describe 1 to 2 that you now that you think about it, were not normal.
My great grandmother, before we moved her out of her apartment, she went to the store. She was going to the store and she forgot completely where she was and she got lost. And an officer actually had to call my grandmother because they found her because she didn't know where she was.
How far away did she get?
She was about 20-30 minutes from her apartment, way past the store that she was going to. She just, I don't know.
My grandmother used to put food on and completely forget about it. Like, altogether. Like, and she couldn't for the life of her figure out how she burnt it because she's been cooking it her whole life.
Could it have been the gypsies?
Yeah.
So you've learned.
I got a good one. Same great grandmother, we took her to Walmart because she was living with us. Went to Walmart, she wandered off. Didn't take very long, like a little kid. Wandered off and she went to the service desk, so she don't know who we were and that we kidnapped her. And they called the cops. And my grandma had to prove that she was the daughter. And that she
Oh
was
my gosh. Oh my gosh. Not normal.
not normal.
Not normal. Share with at least one person something you are going to do differently after today.
I'm going to be more patient and more silent. I've already been practicing.
You have, and you've done a great job.
I'm just gonna look for differences in my residents to see, even because I'm on health center too. Like everybody over here, we all know they got some form of dementia.
Mm-hmm.
But over there, some of them probably have dementia, but they're there because of their lack of physical capabilities. So they're over there. So I'm gonna use that over there to help interact with certain people differently
That's
than other
great.
people.
That's great, and I'm hoping to teach them the very same thing that I've taught you all.
They should
so.
be so lucky.